This rapid transit line connects two different states. It has the oldest continuously running automated trains in the US, and the seats are a little nicer than what you'll find on most metro systems. Join me as I ride the PATCO Speedline in Philadelphia for the very first time. Hey everyone, welcome to a brand new Trains Are Awesome video. I'm Tom. It's about 4:30 in the morning and I'm standing in front of Washington Union Station. I actually had to bike over here because it's too early to catch the metro. We're headed to New York today, and of course I'm super excited. I'm visiting New York with some friends today, but I'm gonna get in a lot sooner than they are. So I thought this is the perfect opportunity to take it a little slow, take a detour, and go visit some of those transit systems that I've wanted to for a while, but haven't had the opportunity to do so yet. Today's video is about PATCO in Philadelphia. Come along. Normally if I have an early morning Amtrak trip, I'm pretty sleepy, but that bike ride really brought the life into me. So you can get tickets for the Northeast Regional a lot cheaper if you take a train that departs early in the morning. I've also noticed that traveling all the way to New York can cost a lot, even this early. But if you book a trip to a different station and then finish your journey by commuter train, you can save a lot of money. This ticket to Philly only costs $10, while a ticket to New York on the same train would have been over $100. So today we're taking this regional to Philadelphia, and then we'll take PATCO to Camden, New Jersey. After taking the River Line to Trenton, we'll finish our journey to New York with a trip on New Jersey Transit's Northeast Corridor line. In today's video, however, we're focusing on the PATCO Speedline. The PATCO Speedline runs between Center City, Philadelphia, and several areas in southern New Jersey. It crosses the Delaware River, which forms the border between Pennsylvania and New Jersey. As it runs between two states, it is operated by the Delaware River Port Authority. In fact, PATCO stands for Port Authority Transit Corporation, and it's actually one of only 4 rapid transit systems in the entire country that crosses state lines. So you might think, crossing state lines, what's the big deal? Lots of trains do that. Well, yes, many mainline passenger trains do. For Amtrak, it's kind of their whole thing to travel between states, and even many commuter rail systems cross over into other states. Think of Metra, New Jersey Transit, or MARC. But when you look at rapid transit, it's not nearly as common. Think of subways, metros, light rail. See, when there's a border, that means that there's 2 different governments, one on each side, and they both have to cooperate to run a transit service together, something that American local and state governments are not always very good at doing. As a result, though there may be many commuter railroads that cross state lines, there are only 4 systems that I would consider rapid transit that cross state lines. Those are PATCO, PATH, the Washington Metro, and St. Louis Metrolink. In fact, if this whole lecture sounds familiar to you, you probably heard it in my St. Louis video. Here's what I said. In this case, I'm talking about urban rapid transit systems. And if you look at a map of the United States, there are 4 systems that cross state lines. You've got PATH, PATCO, the DC Metro Rail, and the St. Louis Metrolink. And then, just to clarify, I added this. Now, let me set some parameters. I'm not talking about mainland commuter rail because in the United States there are quite a few of these systems that do cross state lines. So that makes it pretty clear that I'm not talking about Metra, New Jersey Transit, or VRE and the like, right? Right? Guys, let's just not do that this time, okay? We made it to Philly. This is Philadelphia's 30th Street station, which has to be one of the most beautiful stations in the United States. Now that we're in Philly, let's go ride PATCO. To do that, however, we'll have to take the subway first. Unfortunately, the main railway station and the nearby subway station at 30th Street are not connected yet, so you'll have to venture outside and cross the street. Bunnies.
If you're trying to get to PATCO as fast as possible, I'd recommend taking the Market Frankford line to 8th Street, where there's a direct transfer between the two systems. A ride will cost $2 on a key card, or $2.50 if you're just buying a single ticket.
So a direct connection between the Market Frankford line and PATCO exists at 8th Street Station. However, I got off at 15th Street, of course, to say hi to the City Hall, but also because I thought it would be fun to walk to the terminus of PATCO and get on the train there. Maybe it'll give me an opportunity to take a little bit more time and show you the interior of the trains.
On the Philadelphia side of PATCO, the line is called the Lindenwold line. Heading down the stairs, we're about to venture deep into the realm of too much information. But it was on these exact steps that I saw a pile of human excrement that was so extremely large that to this day, I often stop and wonder how any human could possibly walk after battling a monster that size. Gotta love Philly. So while most of Philly's transit is operated by SEPTA, the PATCO Speedline is not. So of course, you need a completely separate type of fare card to ride PATCO. And there are no free transfers. I guess I won't complain too much, however, because the Speedline is insanely cheap. We're only paying $1.40 for our ride.
Well, the PATCO machine won't take my debit card, so I have to walk a decent chunk back to go to an ATM. Which is an unwelcome delay. Should have remembered to grab cash this morning.
This time I was successful, so let's head down the stairs. Unfortunately, only 7 out of 13 stations on the line have elevators. 15th, 16th, and Locust is one of those accessible stations. However, so are the other transfer stations. But be sure to check before you ride. As this is a terminus, our train is already waiting. This train was built by the Budd Company in 1968. There are also some newer trains that were built in 1980, but all trains on PATCO were refurbished between 2011 and 2018. Taking a look inside, it's easy to see that the original philosophy of the interior design is still reflected in the seating today. Once we're moving, I'll give a more detailed history, but basically PATCO was created to be an attractive alternative for suburban people driving into the city. So the seats, which all face forward or backward, have a higher level of comfort than most rapid transit systems.
Wow, these trains are so nice. Tall ceilings, it's very wide, and look at these seats. These are commuter rail seats. Let's try them out. Ooh, that's comfortable.
They're padded and there's decent legroom. Obviously no recline or other amenities. After all, it is still a rapid transit line meant for short trips. But you have to admit, not every metro train has seats like this. Also, since I put in a $20 in the ticket machine for a $1.40 fare, I now have a lovely collection of dollar coins. And we're off. Almost the entirety of the route within Pennsylvania is underground. Fun fact, while the Delaware River Port Authority owns the bridge across the river, as well as the tracks and stations on the New Jersey side of the line, on the Pennsylvania side, the tracks and stations are owned by the city of Philadelphia.
That look is next. Connection with the Broad Street subway. 1213 and Locust.
The PATCO Speedline is 14 miles or 22 kilometers long, with 13 stations, 4 in Pennsylvania, 9 in New Jersey. Another station in Philly, Franklin Square, has been closed for a long time but is scheduled to reopen later this year. The line uses standard gauge tracks and is powered using a 750-volt DC third rail. Trains run 24 hours, though some stations do close at night. The PATCO Speedline has a fascinating history. See, back in the early 20th century, there were 2 railroads that connected Camden, New Jersey, with cities and towns all across South Jersey. While the competition with each other was fierce, they both had the same fatal flaw. They didn't go into Philadelphia. The Benjamin Franklin Bridge, which opened in 1926, did provide that access into Philly, so the 2 railroads lost their popularity. So much so that they merged in 1933. However, help was on the way. The bridge had been built with space for a railroad track on either side, so in 1936, the bridge line opened between 8th and Market Station in Philly and Broadway Station in Camden. At Camden Broadway station, passengers could transfer to the existing trains headed into South Jersey. And at 8th and Market, it shared platforms with the Philadelphia subway, specifically the line that's known today as the Broadridge Spur. Starting in 1949, trains from Camden would actually continue up to Girard. Imagine an alternate universe where we still had this interconnection. But in 1951, Bridgeline service was rerouted to a new terminus at 15th, 16th, and Locust. Sadly, the Bridgeline wasn't doing too hot in the 50s. Ridership was immensely low. The seashore lines had gone pretty much belly up by then too. But this is where we enter into the second act of the PATCO saga. In the 1960s, work began to transform the Bridgeline into a completely new system. A new platform was built for the Broadridge Spur, severing it from the Bridgeline. The line was also extended east to Lindenwold over the right-of-way of the former Seashore Line to Atlantic City. And on January 4th, 1969, the PATCO Speedline officially opened. It proved to be very effective in luring people out of their cars and onto the train. What set the Speedline apart was its use of automatic train operation. It's the oldest continuously operating automated train in the US, having opened even before BART in the Bay Area.
Ferry Avenue. Access to virtual Our Lady of Lourdes Hospital.
The trains that were introduced when PATCO opened are still in service today. We're riding on one, though it has been refurbished. And the automated train operation is still in use too. But because the automation is old, there are a few precautions. Operators have to take over in case of an emergency, but also when the weather is bad. Because they have to be able to run the trains themselves, the operators have to run a train manually at least once a day. So chances are you may be riding on a train that's not actually running automatically.
Ferry Avenue.
So this is Ferry Avenue Station. It's got a little bit of an interesting layout, and I'm not talking about the giant parking lot back there. I'm talking about if you go to the west end of the platform, it goes from an island platform to having a third track in the middle. It's kind of weird.
This tail track was used up until 1980, when there would be short-term trains out of Philadelphia that terminated here. It's still useful to have this track, as they can hold trains here when they're not needed and such. Now we're back at Broadway, one stop west of Ferry Avenue. This, of course, was the original terminus of the Bridgeline up until it became PATCO.
Alright, this is Broadway Station, which is where you can transfer to the River Line, which is what we will be taking next up to Trenton, New Jersey. But first, let's talk about PATCO. I mean, once I got over kind of the growth station in Philadelphia and the ticket machine issues, I really enjoyed it. Comfortable seats make a huge difference, as well as the views out of the front window. It was awesome. Plus, I know that the trains have been refurbished, but they still kind of have that classic feel to them, at least on the outside. So overall, PATCO was a great experience. I am definitely coming back. I gotta grab my ticket real quick because you need it to exit the gates. Well, I really wanted to keep my ticket because I collect transit tickets, but of course the machine keeps it, so I bought myself a new one. It's only $1.40. Anyways, thank you so much for watching today. I loved PATCO. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe to Trains Are Awesome, like this video, share it with your friends, and let's share the train love. We'll see you next time.
In our next video, we will be riding the New Jersey Transit River line up to Trenton. You don't want to miss it.